What's up, everyone? I'm Dan, and today I am joined by Vicky, content creator and recruitment consultant with Aardvark Swift, the award-winning recruitment specialist with over 25 years of working within the gaming industry. Vicky, thank you for taking time out to be here with me today. How are you doing?
You're welcome. I'm doing good, thanks. I hope you are too.
Good. I'm doing good. Thank you very much. Now, you're a video game recruitment consultant, which sounds like a really cool job title to be. How did you get into this line of work, and what does your role entail?
It is a fantastic job. I love it every day. So it's a funny story. I actually got recruited by a recruiter into this job.
Mm-hmm.
So just a bit of background, if you want, about what I was doing. So I wasn't in video games kind of directly, and my recruitment experience was kind of limited. So I did retail management, and within that there was some recruitment, obviously, of the team that I was in. And I probably spent about 2 years, I would say, researching about recruitment, because I was like, where do I want to go with my life? Like, I was suffering from mental health issues, and I was like, I've got to figure it out. So spent lots of time researching, networking, reaching out to people. And then one day my phone went off. I was like, oh, who's this number? I don't know who this is. And then a phone call. Hey, it's Adam from Aardvark Swift. I was like, oh, okay, I've heard of you. But yeah, tell me more. And then next thing I know, I was in an interview, went through this like whole stages with Aardvark, and then here I am, a recruitment consultant.
Cool. And has gaming always sort of been a big part of your life? And can you remember sort of that the first game that got you into gaming?
Right, let me try and think, because there was quite a few. So my entire family are gamers. So my uncle, he pretty much had he was lucky enough to get every console. Like, he'd always save up, and as I was a kid, like, I'd be like, oh, can I play that? So I'd go on the Sega, and then it moved to PlayStation. So yeah, I think one of the first memorable ones was Echo the Dolphin, I would say, on the Sega. So yeah, I have grown up playing games a lot throughout the years, and then kind of just jumped into industry events. Obviously, I was kind of into going to cosplay events and anime conventions and things like that. So it's all been a part of it. Yeah. And now I'm actually in it, so it's fantastic.
That's good. That's good. What would you say your favorite game of all time was?
Final Fantasy X.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, there are so many, but I think
that would be
out of them all, that's the most beautiful romantic story, and I cry every time I play it. So yeah.
Nice. And is there anything you're playing at the moment, or you're looking forward to playing?
So I've been playing Fortnite a lot. I kind of left that a while ago because I was like, I cannot play it. And then I thought, oh, I'll download it again. And now I'm like, oh, I'm actually all right at it. So I'm playing that until I start being bad at it again. And then last night I actually downloaded the Untitled Goose Game. And oh my gosh, I was sat in my chair just laughing so much, being a goose, flapping and honking. It was so good. So that's my recommendation.
Okay, I haven't played that one, so yeah, maybe I'll have to look into that one as well.
Definitely do.
So from open world games where you can go where you like and almost do what you want, to more focused story driven games, there's such a wide variety for gamers to experience. But what do you think makes a good game work for you?
It's a mixture. I think the characters are probably the biggest thing for me. I'm like that anyway with movies and TV series. A good character driven story is something that I look for. Also something that I can loot a lot on. I like looting. I remember kind of World of Warcraft, way back. This is when I played it. I've not played it recently, so it took over my life. But yeah, like that, the whole kind of looting and building up and leveling up the character, like that's one of the main things.
Okay, cool. All right, so going into more of the sort of recruitment side of things, there are obviously many different roles within the gaming industry. But for example, for someone trying to get their foot in the door and wanting to do something like social media marketing, what are the things that companies are looking for, and what can make the ideal candidate?
So it's quite an open one, to be honest with you. So there are many clients, studios out there that are open to people without industry experience, and you can go in at kind of mid-level, some even senior level. But there are also others that are, very much strict on you must have games industry. So what I try and do to turn that around is kind of have conversations with people rather than just saying, oh yeah, sort your CV out, and then we'll just send it and see what they say. No, that's not happening with me. So what I always say is, we sit down, we have a chat about everything that you've done, because there can be times where you tunnel vision when you're writing your CV and you forget some really important things. And I find this a lot with social media and community managers, that they've done all this really fantastic work outside of their normal job that's not on their CV. So they might have been content creators for 7 years and it's not on their CV, and it's like, come on. That's the most important information we need. So I would always say if you can't have a chat with me or another recruiter, then definitely sit back, relive your entire kind of time around games and your experience, and just try and kind of collate the games industry experience that you've got.
Okay. All right, and so what do you think, you sort of kind of answered this already, but what do you think sort of one of the misconceptions of, for example, being a social media manager, would someone need to have a marketing degree, for example?
It's not always necessary. If you're taking the step into a junior role, then there is a little bit more leniency on you not having a degree. Obviously a degree in marketing, I would say is important, but it's not always necessary. If you've done your own work, so let's say you have been a content creator or even a social media or marketing manager for someone else on a voluntary basis, that is just as much it's kind of worth it. How do I explain this? So that experience is just as good as having a degree, essentially, I would say. So there's always going to be studios that are just adamant on it, but there are those gems out there, but we just got to do a little bit more kind of looking for those ones. Again, I think you've sort of touched on this as well. Sort of transferable skills are sort of things that people don't generally think about when they're applying for a role that's new to them. So you've sort of touched on this already, but what would you say were the key points to have on your CV when you're trying to apply for a role within the games industry? Yeah, so the first thing I always mention is to have a personal profile at the top. That is feedback from hiring managers that I've spoken with. They say that is kind of the main thing that kind of gets their interest. So if you don't have one, how are they going to find out about you yourself before you've even reeled off your experience? So a lot of the time what they might be looking for is a certain personality fit on top of the skills and experience. So quirky introduction, if there's something about you that they might not know, I love Vocaloids, or something like that's personal to you.
Yeah.
That's going to stand out and make them go, oh, that's really interesting. Okay, let's find out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I would say look at structuring your CV as well, because essentially, if you're not working with a recruiter, it's just you doing the application. So that is your one opportunity to get in front of someone. So if the CV doesn't show you as a person, and if you're not in love with it and you go, oh, this is amazing, when you hand it over, then it's not ready. You need to really work on that, and that's going to be the one that gets you through those stages, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, if someone was sort of coming to you, coming to Aardvark Swift, coming to see Vicky, what sort of roles could you sort of get them help them get in, basically?
Yeah, so I work on, we call it the commercial area. Essentially anything that's, if you're not an artist, a designer, a programmer, my head's gone, I'm sure there's so yeah, anything that's not kind of directly involved with creating the game itself, so everything around it. So that covers everything. Majority of it is obviously community management, social media, but there's HR, recruitment as well, operations, some product management, there's lots and lots. But I also do QA as well. So
okay. And sort of in regards to the gaming industry as a whole, are there any changes that sort of you as a gamer and someone who works within the industry would want to see made in terms of perhaps inclusivity, for example?
Definitely, yeah. There's a lot more that studios can be doing. 100%. It's quite frustrating sometimes, obviously, being sort of the person liaising on behalf of the candidate and the studio as well. I will always try my best to obviously favour the candidate and make sure that you get the best that you can get in terms of the job, but I will always kind of say to the studios, like, look, this isn't right. You need to change this to make this better for this person, or just as a whole. But yeah, I think that studios can probably do a lot more, hopefully, change like flexibility on kind of working hours, or have a hybrid system, or look into getting remote working as a potential option, because there are so many good candidates that are outside of the UK or outside the EU and just globally that are missing out on some really good opportunities to really make a difference in a studio just because they can't sort out the way that they hire. It's really sad. But I'd like to see more changes in those, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. All right. And are there any other tips for anyone wanting to get into one of the industries that you sort of look after in the game industry?
I would just say find yourself a cheerleader, whether that's me or anyone else, a friend, because I know it's rough when you're looking for a job, and I know it's rough when you're out of a job as well, which we're seeing a lot of, obviously, at the moment in gaming and tech. So try find yourself someone who is going to be supportive with you. Get them to help you when it comes to your CV. I know it's pretty scary sometimes, like handing over your CV with all your experience. It's like, oh, don't judge me. But don't be afraid, because any advice that you can get is helpful, essentially. So yeah, definitely network as well, I would say. There's lots of events going off and lots happening online as well that's accessible for a lot of people who can't make in-person events. Women in Games, I will shout out to them because they have had some really fantastic networking events recently and previously, where even I've met new people who, you know, I've never spoken to before, and we've made these connections, and you know, we have a laugh and talk about games and things like that, even not on a professional level, but just network, because you never know who is going to see a post or see you as a connection and go, oh, hi, can we have a chat? I've got this job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, that's perfect. Thank you very much. I mean, that's all the questions I had for you. I wish we could sort of go on longer talking about more stuff, because it has been great. It has been very invaluable knowledge. So I just want to say a big thank you for sort of taking the time to once again to do this with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. As always, I'll leave some links in the descriptions below so people can check out Aardvark's Fifth. And if they wanted to get in contact with you, where can they find you?
I will probably suggest maybe add me on Twitter or on LinkedIn. I have got a link tree for other kind of areas if you want to contact me any other ways, but also on the Aardvark Swift website, I think there is my little profile with my email as well, if that's better for people to contact there.
Yeah. All right, so yes, perfect. Thanks again for being here today. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you.